I want to be able to see, and I want to be able to see efficiently. If everybody's in the same position, let's say they're all in the bottom of the squat, not only do I get to check each individual as I go around and I'm calling reps, I'm also going to get some compare and contrast. I'm going to get a really good squatter over here and get to compare them to somebody who's struggling or has an immature squat. But if everybody's kind of moving their own pace, I don't get that compare and contrast. I don't get to line up two athletes and look and see what their movement looks like next to another athlete. So when you're calling movement, you should be in charge. You should call every single rep. All right, everybody, welcome back to Jerk Block Talk. I'm Jason Fernandez. We're here at Crossfit Rife today. I want to talk about something which I think is a pretty common mistake for new coaches when teaching a movement. And I think what you're going to see here, Cassidy is teaching the overhead squat. He's just going to be calling some reps. And what I want you to kind of look over my shoulder and look at while he's doing this is notice that people are only moving when he's calling reps. Nobody's just kind of doing reps on their own. He's not saying, all right, guys, do a bunch of reps. He's calling a rep, so he'll say squat. And then he'll say stand like that. The benefit of doing this kind of command and control and making sure that everybody moves on your command and only in your command is it gives you the opportunity to see a little bit more. So imagine that group, I think there's 10 or 12 people in that class. Imagine that class where he was just like, everybody do 5 reps, and now he has 12 people squatting at different paces with a PVC pipe, which is where we're supposed to be ironing out movement and making sure that people are moving well so they're moving appropriately for the workout. So when you're teaching movement, for the most part, you should be calling all the reps. You should control the tempo. You should be controlling where people are in a certain position, because in the bottom of the squat, I want to see the bottom of the squat for everybody. In the deadlift, I want to see where everybody is at the bottom of the knee or at the top of the knee. In the clean, I want to see where everybody is in the pockets or in the power position. So when you're calling movements, really, really try to avoid just saying, hey, everybody do a couple reps and I'll take a look at that. There's a time and a place for that, but for the most part, that should only come like after you've been through some reps and then you've seen everybody move and you're pretty happy with that, and now they're moving on to the actual like warm up, like when they're starting to load their barbells and do that and start putting some weight on the bar. Now people can kind of move at their own pace and go through. But when you're going through movement and you're going through the specific warm up of your lesson plan or of your warm-up, you want to be in control of tempo. I want to see people's position. I want to see that it's controlled. I want to see what they look like in a specific spot in their movement so that I can identify certain points of performance. If you're just letting people move through range of motion without kind of really dialing in your eye to see if there's anything going on a specific portion of the squat or specific portion of the overhead press or something like that, particularly newer coaches, you're going to miss some of those movements. And even experienced coaches, if I just walked over there and gave 15 people carte blanche to kind of move at their own pace, like I'm just not going to be as effective as a coach as I would be if I was in control and then they went to a certain position that I told them to go to. So it has nothing to do with like I'm in charge and all that stuff. Like you are in charge. It has much more to do with the fact that like I want to be able to see, and I want to be able to see efficiently. If everybody's in the same position, let's say they're all in the bottom of the squat, not only do I get to check each individual as I go around and I'm calling reps, I'm also going to get some compare and contrast. I'm going to get a really good squatter over here and get to compare them to somebody who's struggling or has an immature squat. But if everybody's kind of moving their own pace, I don't get that compare and contrast. I don't get to line up two athletes and look and see what their movement looks like next to another athlete. So when you're calling movement, you should be in charge. You should call every single rep. This is also going to give you a much better idea of how much or how little you're cueing when you're coaching. So if you just said, hey, everybody go through some reps, it's very unlikely that you're going to cue a ton of movement. If you're calling all the reps, now you can call a rep and then cue, call a rep and then cue, and you'll have a much better idea of how frequently you're cueing and what that frequency looks like. Are you not cueing at all? Are you cueing every third rep? Are you able to like really bump that number up and try to get 1 cue per rep? But you're not going to know that if everybody's just kind of going at their own rate and moving around. So when you're correcting, or sorry, not when you're correcting, when you're coaching movement, specifically in the specific warm-up portion of your lesson plan, like he was working on PVC pipes there, you should call all of the reps. Nobody should be moving at their own pace at that point, because you are rendered ineffective as a coach. So I see this pretty frequently in the level 2, and just like, hey, teach a movement, and they'll just say, all right, do a couple of squats. And it's just fundamentally very difficult to see faults and errors, particularly if you're a newer coach and you just don't have a lot of reps with your eyes looking at particularly dynamic movement. So just something to consider. If you do that frequently, try to pull that back in and try to take a little bit more control of that. I think you'll be shocked at how much more you're going to see that way. And as a coach, that's what you want to set up. I want to tee up the ability for me to see more so I can correct more. Hope you guys like this content. If you find this useful, post some comments down in the comment section, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.